So now let's move on. We have already registered the Glassfish server, and we need to now ensure this Glassfish server is running. And we also have the database instance running. If you want to install Apache Derby Database, you just need to download the package from its site. So here you can go to download, and then you can download the latest version of Apache Derby, and then you can unzip it into any location. My installation for Apache Derby. Here's my Apache Derby. So I've taken the tarball, so the bin tar gzipped archive of database Derby DB, and then I have just extracted into my local system in the folder where I want to run the database. So this is all about the installation. So now if you see inside this database, we have various folders. So you have the demo folder. This demo folder contains demonstration programs. So yeah, here you will see a lot of examples and programs. Then you have the bin subdirectory. This is the bin subdirectory. This contains utilities and various executables for running or setting up the database. And then we have other directories as well. For example, the docs directory. The docs directory contains the documentation. So these are various directories, and there's one more important directory, which is lib directory. It contains the Java database jar files. So w.jar is, for example, wclient.jar. These are various the jars for JavaDB or Apache Derby DB. Now, next step is registering the database into the NetBeans IDE. We have already seen how to register a Glassfish server into NetBeans IDE. Now let's register the Apache Derby database into NetBeans. So here to register, what you have to do, you need to go to your databases directory here in the services within your tab, services tab. So here you see the database JavaDB, and I can open and show you the property. So what it has, it just have the installation location and the directory. So which is pointing to the directory where the Java database is installed. So with the Glassfish server, you get also JavaDB. As I already said, it also comes with the JDK, or you can install it in a standalone manner on your folder of your choice within your local operating system. So here I've configured Java database within the Glassfish. Now for the database location, what you can do is you can choose where you would like to keep the databases. So if you are working on NetBeans, so one way we can configure is we can go to the home directories, and then we can choose the folder, NetBeans project folder. And within this, we can create our NetBeans Derby directory, which can be used for storing the database files. So this is one option. So let's do that. So I'm into the NetBeans projects, and so you can go to users as well. And within users, you can use NetBeans. So let me see if something interesting I can. So I see NetBeans project here, and within, so there's nothing for the NetBeans. So yeah, I can go to the NetBeans project, and then I can say .NetBeans hyphen Derby. Yeah, NetBeans Derby. I can choose this directory. Here I have few sample. So I can choose users slash home slash .NetBeans Derby, and then I can choose this path to be my database location. So let me do this, and I say okay. So I have a sample database already here. Now starting and creating a database. So the Java database options. So if I right click on these services into the Java doc, I see here the create database option. So you can click this and you can create a database. We can start this database and stop the database as well. You can create database. So let me start the database. So here I've clicked on the start server. So now I see here security manager installed using basic server security policy. And there are some warning messages which we can ignore, which is about the security manager. This is getting deprecated in JDK. So we are seeing these messages. And here you see Apache Derby network server started and ready to accept connections on port 1527. So you see here some progress bar. So it is trying to get some files from the central repository. It's saying unpacking index for central repository. And then after in few minutes, you should see we have the database up and running. Next thing, what you can do is we can create a database. So you just have to click on the context menu and select create database. And in this, we can give some database names. Say, for example, contact. There could be a user and user password. So I'll say user is my user. And it says, okay, this is a keyword already. So I would say NB user. This is my NetBeans user. NB stands for NetBeans. That is my choice. You can use any username. And then you can use some password as well. So good to use some password for security reasons. I entered some password and now it shows me the database location, and I have clicked on create. I see there is an error occurred while creating the database. Class not found exception. So there's no driver which is found. Okay, so let's see if we can fix this. We have here some drivers. So I think we should first connect and get the drivers. So what I'll do is I will use this driver and connect. Use it to connect. Okay, it says unable to find the suitable driver. So I see this creating packages is now not required. So let me take some driver. So which is Java DB embedded driver. I would say connect using Java DB embedded driver. And my database is this, I'll have to give the database. So the database is localhost 1527. So this is my database location. And then I will try to test the connection by just connecting to sample database. Let's see. I will say test connection. So it's again says unable to find the driver. So this is, I'll choose another driver, say for example, and see I can test connection. Again, I don't see this working. So here you see this is an icon and something broken symbol within this. That means the connection is not successful. So let me just try deleting these drivers. Okay. I will remove the first two as well. And there's a network driver. I'll try connecting using this. So host, I would say 10.15.2.0. Port is 1527. This is what is mentioned here in the bottom. And then I have a database with name sample. Let me try testing connection with this. So again, it says no suitable driver found. Let's again try to create some database. So we'll name the database contact. We'll have a user, NB user. We'll provide some password and we will confirm the password. And when I say OK, and again, you have this driver problem here. So this is how it was with the NetBeans 12.6. Let me also give a try with the NetBeans 12.5. So I'll just close this. I'll go to applications. I'll say NetBeans and I'll try this with NetBeans 12.5. So now I've got the IDE open. Here again, I should have my Glassfish server registered. So this is my Glassfish server. Properties is Glassfish 6 version, and this is the location where it's installed. I can provide some username and password. So this is just updating my Glassfish server. Then I have the database, and this is the Java DB. Let me see the properties. We can choose the Java DB installation location. So here, this is an external Java DB installation, but I can use the one which is being provided with the Glassfish server. So in the Glassfish, there is Java DB. So yeah, this is my database. And then again, I can choose the database location to be my .nbw directory, which is within users and home, and then I should see that directory. Okay, just let me try getting to the directory again. So this directory was users, within users. So I have home, then I have users, and then within users, I had home, and all the dot folders are now hidden here. So that is not allowing me to choose anything within the home. But then let me try A and B. Yeah, so that is autocomplete. NetBeans -Derby. So I can choose the database location as this file. And now I have got Glassfish, JavaDB, NetBeans Derby. So this will register your Glassfish, or this will register the JavaDB within Glassfish. So I see there is a sample database within this. We can think of starting the server again. So I'm starting, we again see we get some messages, and now we have the database started at this particular address and the port. Now, next thing is, once I have the database up and running, so it says ready to accept connection on port 1527. So let's try connecting it. So I'll click on connect. So there is some username. I think we should provide the username sample. This is the sample database, and we'll try connecting. Okay, again, the same message, the driver is not found. To get the driver, I can say connect using JavaDB driver. And in this case, my database is called sample. And I will say the database will have a path, which is localhost. Okay, I can give this database address. So let me use the driver, which is the network driver. It has the host. Host is 10.2.0, and then I have 1527 as my port, and username password. I just keep it empty. So I'm getting the same message in 12.5 as well, that unable to get the suitable driver. So Derby database is easy to use, and it has two configurations. One is the embedded configuration and the client server configuration. So you will find this is a fully functional relational database, and this is an open source database, which is a relational database engine, and it is implemented in Java, and it has very small footprint, and it could be embedded into any Java based applications. It can ensure data integrity. It provides transaction support, and there is no database server that you need to install. So you can just download the archive from db.apache.org/derby, and then you can perform various database operations using Java, JDBC, or SQL. So let's begin using it. So let's first see if we have some Java version on our device. So I'll give the command Java and I will say version, and we see we have Java version 17. Now next thing is we can see if we have the Derby installed. So is there any Derby location? So we can say echo and we can check for the location of Derby that we don't have. So this is not the Derby location. Okay, so this is about, let's run SQL using the embedded driver. So let's look into how to run. So we can go to the Derby database location. I will go within the Glassfish folder, which is home. Then, so first I'll go to the home directory, then I'll say cd Glassfish, and I'll say ls. So we have Glassfish, so I'll say cd glass and ls, and then inside this cd Glassfish. Trying to find out in my, so Glassfish 6, ls, then I go to Java DB ls. This is my Derby home. And now we can think about creating and running the database. So can say Java cd bin and ls, and then I have ij. I can run the ij file here. Okay, I can say exit as well, or I'll say Control C. I'm outside, so I can say Java jar, and then I'll use this path, which is the bin directory. So you have debbyrun.jar. Okay, so I can say Java minus jar. I have here debbyrun.jar, and then ij. Ij is So to connect using JDBC, I can give this connection string and create equal to true. So this will create the database in the current location. Now I can say create table. So this is the embedded driver. Okay. So I see that this location of the embedded driver in this case is derby run.jar. So let me try putting the driver, embedded driver here. Okay, so let's close connection properties. Customize the embedded driver. I'll add derby run.jar. And then say find. Can remove the other jars. Remove, add derby run.jar. Say find driver class is missing. And we add everything from here. Find, and then there are embedded driver. We choose this one and we say okay. Now we have the embedded driver, and then I will say we'll connect, enable to find a suitable driver. If I say create database, put some name, contact, the user, big user. So for each database connection, the service window only displays object from one database schema. So we need to select a schema. We can choose app schema, which is the default schema. Then we do next. So you see here we have Derby contact create equal to true and be user on default schema. So this is the input connection name. I'll choose this and I'll say finish. So we have got a connection now. So we'll proceed with the next steps. So we have created a contact database and you have here this database app, and then you have tables. You can say create database. We can say contact. We can use NB user. and some password. Can confirm the password. Okay. And then I say okay. So let's say the create table. Tables. I will say create table. And in the create table dialog, I can use the contact database, and we can create a table. I see there is an app database, and in this we can create a table friends, and we can add the column. So let's add the column. First column is ID. We can give the data type as an integer. Okay, so here I give integer, and it could be a primary key. It is a unique value. So it shall select it appropriately. So I'll say okay. Then I create first name and last name. We can create more columns here. So let's say first name, and it could be varchar. So we can have this table instead. Let's call it employee. It has an ID, it has first name, it has last name. I'll also add date of joining as another field. And this will be a date. And it could also be null. So we have got now various columns. Let's add one other column, which is email. This again will be varchar. And we can put the size. Size could be 60. So these are database table created, which is known as employee. And if I'll click OK, the table is created here. You see here the database table is created. Now I can go to the SQL editor, and there is another way to create a table, which is using the SQL editor. So what I can do is to open the SQL editor, can click on the database. And then there is execute command option. So with the execute command, I can execute commands on that database. So I can create table. I'll call this as department table. And in this, I can have ID. And ID could be of type integer. Then it is not null and it's a primary key. Then in the department, I can still has department name. So I'll put name. This could be a vet card. So 30. And then I have, other than this, it can have a field. Yeah, these two fields are good for the time being. So I can execute the command here by clicking on the execute button. Okay, this execute button, I need to click, is on this execute button. So this is a run SQL button. I'll click on the run SQL button to run the query, and execution is finished. And I should have a database table with name. Okay, so here I should use double quotes. That is what the error which is pointed here. I'll run this. I got one more error. So execution successful, no rows affected. So let's see. Within the tables, I have employee table, but the table creation had error. So I think semicolon is required. Let me put the semicolon and run SQL. Yeah, say run SQL. So there's a schema which is NP user schema. Okay, so it is connected to the other schema, which is NB user, and this table got created in this department, it's in this particular schema. Now let's add data into this. So again, I'll go and say execute command and say insert into my schema would be nb user dot department. But if I want to add in the employee table, I can choose app dot employee. Then I can say values, and then I can put the IDs. First name, my last name. I can put an email address at the end, which will be some email address, and so I have ID, first name, last name, and then I have the date of joining. Date of joining could be 1, 1, can say 01/01/2022. Right. So this is the date of joining and an email address. So ID, first name, last name, date of joining, and email address. These are the fields which I'm inserting. I can choose yes, so I can close and say execute. So this date and time can be depicted. And I see this is one row has been inserted. This I can try spec from dot imply. I can run this and I see the value has been inserted successfully. Now I can edit this and I can choose another date, say 05, and I can commit this record or I can cancel that. So cancel it will get it back, or I can choose some other date and I can say commit. So this is committed. I can right click and insert records. So I can say 2 is my ID. Then I have some first name. I can give some first name first, and second name, and this name last. Then I can choose the date. Date is also chosen, and then I can choose domain1.com, an email address. Okay. And then I can see the SQL, how the SQL has been generated, and then I can add the row. Okay, so this one, 3, new, first, new, last. Then you have date of joining. I can say it could be 10th, and then someone at domain2. So I have this, then I say add row. It is adding row at the top. So I can click on this, I can say remove, I got this. I say okay. And I have these values. And I can say refresh records. Nothing. So the data has been inserted. Now let's see about deleting the table. So easiest way to delete a table is I can click on, go and right click and then delete. Are you sure it asks for the confirmation? And I say yes, delete, and the table is deleted. So if I go to the NB user schema and to the tables, now the table do not exist. And you can use an external DB script as well to create the tables. So let's run some scripts. I can just copy some file and you can either open a .sql file or you can copy the content of the file here. So let me insert some values as well into this table. So I have the table script to create the table and then insert records to the table. And when I run this, can say app.book, can replace create table app.book. I have the ID. So there is no sequence which has been created. So I will insert this create sequence book underscore s. Start with and increment with. I'll rerun this. Let me do this one by one. So book has been created. Now let me create a sequence. Is executed successfully. But I should use this app.book.s. And then I should insert the value. Show one row affected. Yes, one row is affected. Values. Now insert it and use app dot book, and I will insert it again. So one row affected, view data. So you have this record inserted. So this is how you insert records or create table using SQL script. You can open the .sql file, or you can copy paste the content of the .sql file for creating the tables. So you can also edit the table. So by just clicking on the recreate table button. So there are other options, which is grab structure. So this is, you can save this structure as a .grab file. Or you can recreate the table. So here, when you recreate a table, you can locate the grab file, and you can open the file, and then you can rename the file. So let's see this in action. So let me grab structure, and I'll say employee.grab, and this I'm storing in my file, in my user home directory. So I saved it. Now I can recreate table, and now this time I'll open the grab file, and I can rename this to something else. So now employee underscore, I can say retired. And if I say okay, so I should have another new table, which is employee retired from the grab file. So this is all about working with the Java database or Apache Derby Database. And we saw that how to create a connection, how to connect to a database with the NetBeans IDE. And then we saw how we can create a new table. We can view the data within the table. We can modify the table, delete the table, and insert records into the table, run SQL scripts. So this was complete demonstration of SQL editor as well for manipulating the data in the tables. And it also showed the ID's functionality and how you can recreate tables using various techniques. Thank you.